chat open. There we go. All right, welcome back again to Yoga Therapeutics with myself, Amanda Wheeler. Today's focus is going to be yoga for the legs, ankles, and feet. I actually just grabbed a quick quote from one of the yoga journals that I had been taking notes on. I don't even know what issue it was or anything, but I wish I could open up because then they had some really good references in there. But I just kind of had this in my notes. And it's by a lady named Amy Kornfeld on Yoga Journal. She's just one of the people that had an article in there. And she said, by resolving foot problems, you may discover you've resolved your knee, back, hip, and shoulder problems as well. So that is one of the reasons why I added ankles and feet in here, because our feet and our ankles are what we're on all day long when we're walking. So if there is an issue with the feet or the ankles or your posture, how you are standing or how you're doing the poses on your ankles and feet, then that just transfers all the way up. It'll affect the legs, it'll affect your hips, it'll affect the spine a lot. So that is why I added that in, because those are the most important things that tend to get missed. A lot of people will focus on, oh, yoga for the legs, hips, back, and will kind of let the ankles and feet just pass by. So they are the foundation of our poses. So we'll do a little bit different today. As usual, we do a good mixture of everything, but we'll have a little bit of different things today. Take a comfortable seat, and we'll start out with our breathing first. So you can have your legs out in front of you. You can be sitting on a chair. You can have your legs crossed, however is comfortable for you. And then just rest your arms down, relax your shoulders. If you need to do any neck stretching, go ahead and get a little bit of movement in through the neck. And just allow your body to begin to settle in. When you're ready, you can gently close your eyes. And focus in on just your natural breathing to start. You want to allow your breath to fill into the rib cage, allowing the ribs to expand. Maybe the belly gently follows, but the ribs are going to expand and the ribs will knit closer together as you exhale. I'll usually add in different styles of breathing, but for today I just want you to focus on a simple counting breath. As you inhale, try to count to the number 5. Pause for a second at the top of your inhale and exhale for the count of 5. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. Keep going. Try to relax all your muscles as you exhale. Let's increase that inhale for the count of 6 and exhale for the count of 6. Inhale for 6. Exhale for 6. Let's try one more. Inhale for the count of 7. Exhale for the count of 7. Couple more rounds of that. Deep breaths. Last one. Slowly push all of that air out and then just bring your breath back to its natural rhythm. Let go of the counting. And slowly begin to open your eyes. Okay, we're going to stay in a seated position. I forgot to mention the props that you would need. So you need 2 blocks, a strap, and a hand-sized towel. You may need a blanket, but probably not for most people. So for your first position, just bring your feet kind of into a wide or longer bound angle, so they're kind of in a diamond shape. You can also do this seated in a chair. You don't have to be on the floor for this. We're going to do what's called Namaste Feet and then reverse Namaste Feet. So in Namaste, it's a common yoga term for palms together, so flattening the palms together. But we're going to do it with your feet. So go ahead and press the big toes together. Try to get all of the toes to touch each other. And then try to get the heels to touch as well. And see if you can get the pads of your feet to be touching. The pads right underneath your big toes. You'll have that fleshy pad. Press it all together as if your palms are pressing together. And you can even do your palms if you want. And then after you have gotten your feet firmly together, we're going to reverse it, and you're going to let your legs relax and kind of let your feet roll open. And you can even start to lift the feet up a little bit if you want and spread the toes. And then we're just going to do that a couple more times. Press the feet together and then open the feet and spread the toes. Kind of lift the feet so they're almost starting to point up at the bottoms of your feet are starting to point up. So do it one more time. And then open them up again. So again, if you're just sitting in a chair, you can be doing this as best as possible or on a couch. And then we're going to bring your feet out in front of you. Just have your heels down. Lift your toes up, flex, and spread your toes as much as you can. And then you're going to make a fist with your toes. And then open and spread your toes again and make a fist. So usually it's easy to inhale as you open and spread the toes, exhale as you make a toe fist. So just do that about 5 times. Spreading, flexing the toes up, and then toe fist. Good. So this type of movement is actually helpful for bunions and hammer toes. Then you can grab your towel. And you can have it on a slippery surface if you can. And this little technique, we're just gonna squeeze and try to grab or roll the towel. So you're just kind of acting as if your toes are gripping like your hands would to pick something up. And this, I call it the towel scrunch. This is helpful for plantar fasciitis. So if you have plantar fasciitis, it's really gonna help. So again, if you can't quite see, I'm just gripping the towel with my toes as if I was trying to grab it with my hands. And you just want to do that. You can go alternate back and forth. Kind of reminds me of like when a cat tries to do their little massage. So you're just going to do that a little bit. So again, if you have plantar fasciitis, you might want to do this on a regular basis. And then go ahead and set your towel to the side. So if you can come down to the floor, you want to come down to the floor for this next one. You're just going to be in an easy seated position, knees bent. You're going to flex your toes up and bring your hands and just do a little bit of movement with the toes. So I'm going to press my toes down, kind of like a fist, and then pull them up and press them down and pull them up. So I'm just going to go back and forth, flexing and extending my toes. You might get a little bit of crackling out of there. And then I want you to spread your toes and try to interlace your fingers between your toes. Now sometimes it's hard, especially if your toes are really stiff. You might just be able to get a finger between a couple of them at a time, and that's perfectly fine. So this is just a little interlacing toe massage, and you're just gonna bend and roll the toes a little bit. Go nice and slow if you have really stiff feet. Mine are cracking a little bit. I don't know if you can even hear that over the camera or not. And I actually was doing this earlier today too. So there's definitely a lot of movement that's needed in there today. Just mobilizing the toes. Good. All right, when you're done, go ahead and release. Take a seat you can sit on a blanket here if you know that you have discomfort in your sit bones, or if you have really tight hips, you can sit on a blanket here. And we're gonna try to roll the thighs out a little bit, and sometimes helpful to pull the glutes back so you can sit upright. We're going into a staff pose. So if you need to have your feet hip distance, that is perfectly fine. And then flex the feet. You can also bring your ankles together. Sometimes as you get more advanced, that's comfortable, but feet hip distance is good for beginners. So I want you to flex the feet, pulling the toes towards you. So the heel is pressing away. You can have your hands down at your sides or supporting behind you. But then once you flex your feet, I want you to try to press the big toes away from you. So basically we're working a lot on the big toes. So the big toe needs to root down in a lot of stuff that we're doing, and the arches need to lift. So a lot of foot problems come because people are not pressing down through the big toe. The big toe, the muscles in the big toe actually control a lot of our balance. And when your muscles in your big toe are weak, it causes a lot of either hypertonicity, which is too toned of muscles, like hypertonic is what we usually say. The muscles are overly toned or tight, but it can also cause weakness. So we're working on that big toe a lot today. All right, so go ahead and release that. And then bring your soles of your feet together into a bound angle. You can bring your heels close to you. We're gonna do a bound angle butterfly, very similar to what we do with children. So we're gonna basically make a butterfly motion with the legs, but we're gonna stay here in the bound angle and allow the feet to open like a book. And then I want you to interlace the first two fingers and thumb around the big toes if you can, so that you got those first two fingers kind of squeezing the bottom of your toe. So sit up as tall as you comfortably can. Your feet are open right now. Then I want you to flap up and then press your big toes down into your fingers. And I really want you to press the big toes down and then open up again. Let your feet open like a book, and you can go as slow or as quickly as you want. And then once you come up, flapping the wings up of the butterfly position, you're gonna press the big toes down into your fingers. And do it at least one more time, maybe a couple more. So your feet are almost flat. They're just kind of lifting off the floor a little as you press the big toe down onto your finger. And then one more. Really press the big toe down and then release. Okay, go ahead and come onto your hands and knees. We're gonna do cat and cow. I want you to focus on your ankles and your feet. So as you press the tops of your feet down, make sure your big toes are pointing straight back. A lot of people will let their toes kind of hang in, but we want the toes pointing straight back. Hug your ankles in too. So a thing you can try to do is get your block between your ankles and try to squeeze the block with your ankles. Now this is really going to help with your ankle strength, but make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Your knees should be underneath your hips, and then squeezing that block with your ankles if you want to use the block. Just do about 5 rounds. Keep squeezing the ankles together. Cat pose as you exhale, round your back, pull your chin into your chest, pull the belly up, and then cow pose, tip your tailbone back. Hug your elbows in, lift your chest. Let your neck be relaxed. Again, do about 5 rounds. Exhale into your cat pose. Inhale into cow posture. Feel free to hold for a couple of breaths if you need. And try to hug that block with your ankles. All right, last one. When you're done, just go ahead and bring your back to a neutral position. Set the block to the side. Curl your toes under. And bring your ankles and knees together. Excuse me. We're going into a thunderbolt toe crusher. So I want your toes down as best as they can be, so that the neck of the toe, which is kind of the long part of the toe, is almost on the floor. So as comfortably as you can. Ankles together, knees together, have a seat onto your heels. You're just gonna sit back for a minute, not literally a minute, more like 30 seconds. And you'll sit onto your heels, try to get some weight shifted back on your heels. Now this one is really good for plantar fasciitis as well. Try to hug your ankles in towards each other. Again, so that big toe is pressing down. A couple more breaths, just try to keep your back nice and straight. The next one might not be as comfortable for some of you. This one is no problem for me. Some people, this one is pretty intense. The next one is actually more intense for me. So it's different for everybody. You might want that hand towel next to you for this next one in case you have very bony ankles. You're gonna bring the tops of your feet down. And for this one, it's Thunderbolt, but Thunderbolt plantar massage. So the plantar is the bottoms of the feet. I want you to cross the right foot on top of the sole of your left foot. So your feet are stacking. You're gonna try to get the bony part of your top of your right foot into the inside of that left foot. Now, if you have a towel, you might have to hold it and place it underneath kind of the front of the ankle if it hurts. You're gonna sit down onto this. So it might be pretty intense. So this time the feet are almost in an X. That right foot is on top and crossed over the left. You do want to make sure you're sitting more onto that left ankle. You might feel like you want to fall over onto your right side. And again, you're just gonna breathe here. Mine's pretty intense, so if you have really tight feet, this might hurt a little bit. Just put less pressure on it, so you might be able to kind of lift up a little. And after you've been there for about 30 seconds, we're gonna switch to the other foot. So come onto your hands and knees again, uncross. Now you're gonna cross that left foot on top of the right. So again, your feet are almost in an X. So the left foot is gonna turn and stack on top of the right. Go ahead and have a seat onto your heels when you're ready. So there's many options. If you can't sit onto your heels, you're just here supporting yourself. So you're just gonna do what's comfortable for you. Also, if you have knee pain, you can have a folded towel or blanket right between the back of your hamstring and your calf muscle. After about 30 seconds, you can come back onto your hands and knees. Go ahead and curl your toes under. Just gonna stay in a tabletop with the toes curled under just to get that back and forth motion of our ankles and our feet before we go into our next pose for our ankles and feet. We're gonna focus a lot on the ankles and feet throughout the other poses as well, but these are specifically just for them. Once you're ready, bring the tops of your feet down. Bring your ankles and knees together. Have a seat onto your heels again. I'm gonna scoot a little bit farther forward. You might want to as well. We're gonna go into a Reclined Hero. So you're gonna bring your hands back behind you to support you. Try to keep the knees towards the floor. And you can just stay here if you want. Or even if you have to stay upright, that's fine. If you can get your hands back behind you, wherever's comfortable, as long as your shoulders aren't rolling forward, keep your shoulders back. You might even be able to come down onto your forearms. But we're not gonna go any farther for the purpose of this pose today, because we're focusing a lot on the feet. And once you get fully reclined, it kind of goes more into the upper body too. So we'll just stay here. You can drop your head back or you can tuck your chin in, whichever is comfortable for you. Try to get the knees towards the floor and keep your feet pressing down. Once you're ready to come up, press your palms down again. Come all the way up. And then we're gonna come into a child's pose. So from your hands and knees, let the tops of your feet stay down on the floor. Bring your big toes to touch, but then separate your knees apart from each other this time. And think like a cow posture as you tip your butt back and then sit back onto your heels, so we don't round the back too much. You can have a blanket here if you need to. And crawl your hands out and rest your forehead down. Feel free to put a block under your forehead if you need to, or anything to rest your forehead on. So we just want to crawl the hands out, try to elongate your spine, get your spine as long as you can, and then sit some weight back into the heels. Once you're ready, come back up. From your hands and knees, we're going to go into down dog. If you want to go into puppy pose, go ahead. So down dog, step your feet back, press down through the hands, lift your hips up and back. If you're going into puppy pose, you're just going to crawl your knees back, crawl your hands forward. You still keep hips over knees and crawl the hands out. And you can have a block under your forehead. So that's your modification for down dog if you need it. Since we're focusing a lot on our ankles and feet, our foundation today, we're going to do something that might seem a little challenging. I want you to bend your knees a little. Press your big toe down as if you're pushing a button with your big toes. So really press the big toes down. And usually the other toes will press down too. So it's not a gripping, but it's pressing, as if you're pressing on some buttons. And then try to lift the arches up a little bit. So you press the big toes down, your arches should lift already. And then keeping the big toes pressing, start to press the heels towards the floor, but don't let those big toes come up. So don't worry about your back too much in this one. We're focusing on those feet. Good, one more breath there. Then just go into your comfortable down dog. So just relax the feet, lift your right leg up. Even if in your puppy pose, you can just extend your right leg back and then do ankle circles. I want you to do 5 to the right and then 5 to the left with that ankle. And then release that foot down. Lift your left foot up and then do ankle circles, 5 to the right and 5 to the left. Notice if you're having any cracking, popping, grinding in there. Release that foot down. And then look up between your hands. Come all the way up to mountain. However you usually get there, you can walk forward. Or you can just make your way as you inhale all the way up into mountain. Exhale, palms down. All right, standing in your mountain pose. Separate your feet hip distance for the purpose of our kind of grounding. Feet hip distance for this one. If you normally have them ankles together, you can go back to that later on. So mountain pose, I want you to rock forward onto the ball of the feet and the toes, and then rock onto the heels. And just let your body kind of rock back and forth. Try to pay attention if you feel like your feet are rolling open or if they're rolling in as you're doing that. And then once you've rocked back and forth a few times, stop in the center. And now I do want you to roll your feet onto the outer edges of your feet. You can do one at a time if you want, and kind of open your feet like a book. Then bring it back down. And now try to roll on the inside of your foot and lift the outside of your feet up. So the little toes are lifting up. That's usually more challenging for people. You can try it again, but go nice and slow, especially if you have ankle injuries. You might want to just do this in a seated position. After you've done that a couple of times, get your feet nice and flat again. And throughout all of these poses, I want you to think about 4 corners, the 4 corners of each foot. So it's going to be the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, and then the left and right sides of your heels. Some yoga instructors call it your 4 tires or your 4 wheels of your feet. So just think of the 4 corners and try to keep all 4 corners pressing down, and then press your big toe down. And think about how that feels. Next, we're going to do some calf raisers. So you can stay here, bring your hands to your hips, or you can lift your arms upright, whichever feels best for you, and do some calf raisers. You can also go to a wall and place one hand on the wall. And then just do at least 5, coming up onto the ball of your feet and back down. Again, you can have arms up or hands on your hips. The arms up just allows for a little bit more cardio for the blood flow. And again, 5, maybe 10, however many you want. Strengthening the Achilles tendon, the very back side of your ankle, is what's happening during this, along with getting the nice calf muscles going. When you're done, go ahead and release. Bring your feet together, and we're going to go into tree pose. If you want a little bit more challenge, grab your block. This is just a good ankle strengthening. If you have a foam block, it's actually going to create more strengthening, and you'll stand on the block. So right now, we're going to start with standing on your left leg and lifting your right leg up. So I will mirror you. I usually will mirror you. So again, I'm on a cork block. It's not much different than a floor, so I'm not having much more of a challenge than the floor right now. But if you've got a foam block, your feet start to sink in a little. So it creates a little bit more work for your ankles. So now with the right foot, heel up, toes down on the inside of your leg. Try to find your balance. So we're focusing on that bottom foot. So your left foot, I want you to focus on pressing the big toe down and hugging the ankle in towards the middle. If you decide to go up higher, go ahead and go up higher. You can keep your hands wherever they're comfortable, or palms together, or you can lift your palms up. So just stay wherever you're comfortable. Do whatever arm position is comfortable for you. Good. Go ahead and release. Come on down. I'll show you the next side without the block. Feet together. You're gonna balance onto the right foot this time. Remember, press that right big toe down. Lift your left foot up. You're gonna have heel up, toes down. Make sure you're below or above your knee. Don't press on your knee. So again, go wherever is comfortable for you. Press the left foot into your leg and then really anchor your right big toe down. Your hands can go wherever they're comfortable. We're not focusing too much on the upper body today, so just do wherever you need your arms so you can focus on that bottom ankle. You can even be using a wall or a chair to help you stay up. Good. Slowly release. Feel free to walk out your knees if you ever need to. Separate your feet hip distance apart again. Go up to the top of your mat. Keep your feet hip distance apart. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, palms together. We're gonna bend your knees, try to fold forward, and then bring your hands down to the floor. So forward fold. Relax your head. If you need blocks under your hands, always feel free to do so. Now I want you to press that big toe down. And then come up halfway. Remember, our halfway is straightening up the legs. Bring your hands kind of right under the knees and try to get your hips and shoulders in a line. Relax your neck. Engage your belly. When we fold in again, bend your knees, forward fold. Now I want you to wrap your first two fingers underneath your big toes. You want you to press your big toes down onto your fingers and then lift halfway forward if you can. You should feel a pretty intense stretch or work of the legs. Relax that. We'll do it 2 more times. Press your big toes down into your fingers, even pull up on your fingers, lift halfway forward. Try to relax the neck. Couple breaths, and then release, folding it in. And last time, press the big toes down. Straighten out your legs to a comfortable level. Straighten your back, and then release. You can always use a strap for that if you need to. From this forward fold, keep your hands down, step your left foot back into a low lunge. Feel free to have blocks under your hands if you need them. Right knee over ankle. Get up onto the ball of your back foot. So see if you can flex those toes. Lift your chest, straighten out your back. Couple of breaths here. You're gonna want the blocks for kneeling sage coming up next. We're gonna get a deep hamstring stretch here. Bring your left knee down. Grab your blocks as high as you need them to go. We're gonna scoot the left knee back. You can keep the toes curled under for now. And then flex your front foot, lift up the toes. Press through your heel. And then I want you to tip the butt back a little bit. Stay up on your blocks wherever you need to go. And we're working on this front leg. So pulling the right toes towards you. If you decide to go lower, make sure that that belly is coming down first. Lower belly comes down first. Nice straight lower back. Couple more breaths here at least. Stay as high as you need to. When you're ready, slowly come up out of that one. You can slide your blocks to the side. Come back into your low lunge. Press down through the right big toe and come all the way up to a high lunge. You can bring hands to your leg if you need to, or to your hips. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up if you can. Press down through that big toe. The right big toe presses down. Try to lift your chest, lengthen your spine. Hold for 1 more breath. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Step forward. Back up to your mountain. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Wrap your toe or your fingers around the big toe. Press your big toe down. Inhale up halfway. Same thing we did before. We'll just do 2 this time. Exhale, fold in, relax. Press down through your big toe. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold in. Plant your hands. Leave your left foot forward, right foot back into your low lunge again. Left knee over ankle. Get up onto the ball of your back foot, straighten out your back. Remember, this back glute should be engaged, right glute engaged. Lift your chest, straighten your back. See if you can press that left big toe down still. And when you're ready, we'll go into our kneeling sage. Bring your right knee down, scoot your right knee back. Everyone's a little different, so find your position. We just want, as soon as you press through that left heel and lift the left toes up, your right hip should go above your right knee. Turn your right hip forward a little and tilt your butt back just a little bit. And really flex this front foot. Bring the toes towards you, nice and gentle. Lift your chest, straighten out the back. When you're ready to go deeper, you always can. Just stay wherever you can keep that good belly to thigh connection or straight back. A couple more breaths at least. Take your time. If you feel like your right hip's pulling back, I want you to turn that right hip forward a little. That tension is trying to turn you. Good. When you're ready, come back out of that one. Slide your blocks off to your side. Come back into low lunge on your left side. Press through the left big toe and come all the way up into a high lunge. Take your time. Inhale, lift your arms up if you can. Press down through the left big toe. Again, we're working a lot on that position of the feet and ankles. The left big toe muscle is so key. Well, the big toe muscle on both sides is key for your poses. Good, release your hands, step forward. Back up to the front of your mat. Bring your feet together. And we're gonna go into a chair pose, but we're gonna stay high. Inhale, lift your arms up. Relax your shoulders. If you know you need your hands on your hips, just keep them there, but press your big toes down for this one. And I want you to sit back just a little bit. So we're gonna stay kind of high. I'll show you here. Feet together as best as you can. Press the big toes down and just sit back a little. So it's not sitting too deep, but I want you to get the big toes down and you might feel the lift in your arches. If you're not, maybe just try to press that big toe down a little bit more. And if you have fallen or collapsed arches, this would be good for you to do to try to help with that. Pull the belly back a little. Keep that big toe pressing down, one more breath. And then come on up, release the arms. Step to the middle of your mat. Spin and face the long edge of your mat and take a nice wide stance. Grab your blocks with you and place them behind each heel. So we're using my purple mat here. I will mirror the camera. Turn your toes so that your big toes are pointing straight ahead or even just slightly inward. Turn your right foot so it points at the end of your mat. Press down through that right big toe. And then before we go into Warrior Two, make sure that this back ankle, your left ankle, is pressing equally. So you're not rolling in or out, but it's nice and firm. Then bring your arms out and bend your front knee. Press down through your right big toe. Make sure your back ankle is evenly distributed between the inside and the outside of it. Reach more through the backhand, get your torso upright. I'm not gonna worry too much about the arms today. Keep pressing through your right big toe and come into extended side angle. We're gonna reach forward and up, get a lot of length, and bring your hand down to your block. Right hand down to the block, right outside of your ankle. Top arm up. You can just stay here and focus on the legs. Press down through your right big toe. And make sure that back ankle stays straight. You can start to reach, turn your top palm towards your head and reach across if you'd like. Focus on that front leg. Big toe presses in. Back ankle nice and straight. When you're ready, press through your your front foot a lot, and straighten out your legs. Triangle. Hinge your hips back. Reach up and forward. Get a lot of length. Bring your right hand down, left arm up again. This time legs are straight. Press down through your right big toe. You can slide that bottom block wherever it needs to go, or as high as it needs to go. So in triangle, legs are as straight as they comfortably can be. If you're tight, you might be a little bent here. Try to engage your left glute and press that right big toe. You can look down or up or straight out to the side. And then we're going to half moon. Keep the press of this right big toe as we go into it. So you're gonna bring your left hand to your hip, bend your right knee a little, grab that block, step forward halfway. You're gonna slide your block forward and out to your right side. So remember, I'm mirroring you. Your block's gonna slide over to your right. You're gonna balance onto your right foot, press down through your right big toe, lift the left leg up, press down through your right hand as well. Now flex your top foot. So flex your left foot. Lift your chest, but focus more on the legs. You can leave your left hand on your hip, or if you're comfortable, you can lift it up. As you press that right big toe down, get that ankle nice and strong. Right ankle is strengthening. Good. When you're ready, bend your front knee slowly. Use that hand if you need to. Come on back to your wide stance. Turn your feet straight ahead. Bring your arms out to the side. Spin your left foot to the end of your mat and bend your left knee. Again, always knee over ankle. Warrior two. Press down through the left big toe. Make sure your back ankle is nice and straight. Back heel is firmly planted, not rolling in or out. When you're ready, go into extended side angle, keeping the left big toe pushing down. Reach up and forward. Bring your left hand down to the block, whatever setting you need it at. Lift your right arm up. Point your palm towards your head. Maybe reach across. You don't have to though. Press down through the left big toe. Again, focus on the ankle. Nice strong foundation. The ankle is nice and steady as you press the left big toe down. Lift up your arch and breathe. Slowly come up, put a lot of weight into the foot. Come all the way up, straighten your legs, triangle, hinge your hips back. Make sure not to lock the front knee. You're gonna reach up and forward. Bring your hand down again. Left hand down, right arm up. In your triangle, press down through your left big toe. And hug your ankle in. So your ankle is hugging in towards the midline of your body. Keep the strength in the ankle, strength in that front big toe. And when you're ready, come to half moon. Right hand down to your hip. Grab your block. Go ahead and step forward. Slide your block forward and out to your left this time. Out to the left as far as you need to. You basically want that block under your shoulder. As you press your left big toe down, lift your right leg up, and flex your right foot. You can press your left hand down to lift your chest and straighten out your back. Feel free to keep your hand on your hip or lift your arm up. That is your ankle staying strong of your left side. Left ankle nice and steady. Left big toe pressing down. When you're ready, slowly come on out. Back into your wide stance. Turn your feet straight ahead. So your feet are pointed at the long edge of your mat now. Wide leg forward fold. Focus on your feet pressing through the four corners. So remember the base of your big toes, the base of your pinky toes, and your heels, both sides are firmly planted. You're gonna hinge your hips back just a little bit. So you're gonna stick your butt back so that we're not rounding. Bend your knees a little and fold forward. Bring your hands down. So remember, we don't want to see this big rounding of your back. Bend your knees, tip your butt back. Hands can be down right underneath your shoulders or on blocks under your shoulders. Now check your feet. Are you pressing down through your big toe? And is the base of your big toe and your pinky pressing down? Are your heels rolling in or are they rolling out? We want to make sure they're steady, equal. Feel free to fold as deeply as you want. Just focus on the feet. Pause for a few breaths. Find that grounding feeling through your feet, that stability through your feet. And when you're ready, Just slowly come back out. Hands under your shoulders again. Now to come out, we're gonna bend the knees and put more weight onto the heels so that we can come up. And then slowly just step together. Feel free to walk your knees out if you need to. You're gonna need both blocks again, this time towards the top of your mat. Separate them about shoulder distance. Come all the way up towards the top of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips and separate your feet hip distance apart. You're gonna step that right foot forward, so it's pretty close to the block. Step your left foot back, and you're gonna turn the left foot open slightly, go into intense side stretch. So the left foot's turned open just slightly because the left big toe points over the left corner of your mat. Press down through that right big toe, and we're gonna straighten out your right leg. If you know this, you can go ahead and start to go into it. But remember, intense side stretch, the hip bones are turned towards the top of your mat. Try to keep the right big toe pressing down. And you're gonna bend your knee a little if you need to. Hinge forward. Still keep the butt tipping back just a little bit. And bring your hands down. Turn your left hip forward more. And press down through your right big toe. And again, check your heels. More so the right heel. The right heel should not be rolling in or out. Feel free to fold a little deeper if you can get your belly down. And we're going to keep that right big toe anchored, keep the right heel anchored, and go into Revolve Triangle. If you know it, go into it. If you don't know it, you may want to use the block in your left hand and just slide it over towards your right foot. You're going to press that left hand down and lift your chest. Gently bring your right hand to your hip, and you might just pause here looking straight ahead. Then if you can keep that right foot anchored, you're just gently going to turn the left hip forward, turn your rib cage, so your right rib cage, turn it open more. Start to roll your right shoulder back. Remember, this is a very difficult pose for balance and for hip openness and shoulders, so take your time. You do not have to lift your arm up, and you do not have to twist. Keep the full balance of that right foot, and then slowly come on out. And when you're ready, come back up, step forward, other side. Left foot forward, step your right foot back, and turn your right foot slightly open so your right big toe points at the right corner. Press down through your left big toe and straighten your legs. Make sure your hip bones are pointing straight and start to hinge forward. Again, you can bend your left knee a little if you want. Hands down. The blocks on the highest setting is a good place to start. Turn your right hip forward. Press down through your left big toe. Make sure your left heel is evenly pressing down. Pause there for a few breaths. Remember to use your breath. If you feel it's tight, try to exhale and relax the muscle. And when you're ready to go to Revolve Triangle, again, go into it if you know it. If you don't know it, you might want to use the block in your right hand and slide it over to the inside of your left foot. The next stage is more challenging of bringing that right hand over to this block on the outside. So stay wherever you want to stay. Left hand goes to your hip. Again, you're gonna press down through your right hand and lift your chest. And you might just stay here. Anchor through your left big toe. Gently turn right hip forward just slightly, but press the left big toe down. Keep your left heel steady. Maybe turn open through the shoulders. Couple breaths. Find your balance. Gently release. Use your blocks if you need them. Step forward and come up to mountain. And slide your blocks to the side. Walk out your knees a little if you need to. And the next one we're going to is elevated pigeon prep. We did this, I think it was last week. It's a very challenging pose for balance for some people, but it's great for your hips and great for that ankle strength. If you need to be by a wall, go ahead and move there. Bring your ankles together. Come into a huddle, so bring your hands down to your knees. Lift your right knee up. Again, I'm mirroring you. And you're gonna find your balance onto that left foot as you turn the right leg open. Flex your right foot, and you're just coming into a figure four. So the outside of that right ankle is resting above your left knee. Focus on your left ankle staying steady. Left heel is evenly distributed and left big toe presses down. So we're going to stay upright here as you gently open up the right hip and lift your chest. If you want to come palms together, go ahead. And focus on the balance of your bottom foot. A couple more breaths. Ground down through the left foot. Steadiness. And when you're ready, slowly release. Feet together. Other side, come into your huddle. Lift your left leg up. Open up the left leg or the left hip as you bring your left ankle above your right knee. Flex your foot so it's nice and flat. Rest your hands down here. Find the balance on your right foot. Press your right big toe down. And try to see if you can feel the lift of that right arch when you press the right foot down. Keep your heel steady. Make sure you're nice straight back. Maybe palms together if you want. Good. Equal weight in the heel of your right foot and the big toe. So all four corners as well. Good. When you're ready, nice and slow, go ahead and release. Next one we're going to do, you need your strap. It's standing sage. Most people will need a strap. Sometimes you can reach your big toe. But if you can't reach the toe comfortably, we're going to use the strap for sure. So you're going to bring your strap long, place it underneath your right foot. See if you can get your right big toe on it for sure. It might be a little bit more challenging to try to get it underneath all the toes and keep the right big toe on there. All right, I want you to find your balance on your left foot. Bend your right knee up, holding the strap. You can hold both sides together if you want and have your left hand on your hip. So you're going to find your balance. Anchor through the left big toe. Keep your left heel steady. Then if you can, you're going to straighten your right leg out. And it's quite difficult to have it on just the big toe. So as long as you've got it right underneath the mound of your big toe, and slowly straighten the left leg. Again, the best option, if you can reach your toe, is to interlace your fingers around your right big toe and press your big toe into your fingers. Good. Once you have held for about 30 seconds, or as long as you comfortably can, you're going to release nice and slow and do the other side. Now, having the strap underneath your left foot, again, trying to get right underneath the big toe, balance onto your right leg, and maybe bend this knee up, holding the strap, both sides of the strap together in your left hand and right hand on your hip. Use the strap if you need it, and slowly start to straighten your leg, or just keep your knee bent. If you don't need your strap, wrap your fingers around your big toe. That's going to give you a little bit easier press into the big toe. Find your balance. Again, we're using both big toes in this one. When you're ready, slowly release. Separate your feet about hip distance apart. You can toss your strap to the side. And we're going to come into garland. Turn your feet open. Garland is a low squat. Heels point in, toes point out. When you're ready, come down into your squat. Everyone has a little bit different stance. If you feel like you need it wider, go ahead. We're going to try to get the feet flat if you can. So your hips are sitting deeper towards your heels. Your arms are inside of your legs if possible, and you might feel more comfortable kind of crawling your hands out. You might be able to get your balance a little better. It's great to have a folded blanket underneath the heels if your heels can't touch the floor, because that's going to give you the steadiness that you need. Your palms can come together as well in front of you. I want you to pause there and see if you can get your weight evenly distributed between your toes and your heels. You can also just stay in a high squat if you can't get into your low squat. Just a couple more breaths. Sink your hips down. Get your feet firmly grounded. Good. And then when you're ready, come onto your hands and knees. Lower yourself down onto your belly. You may need a strap for this one if you can't reach your feet. We're going into half frog, so press the tops of your feet down. We're going to come upright and place your right forearm in front of you. So right elbow is in line with the right shoulder, and your hand goes straight out, so you're parallel to the front of your mat. Bend your left knee, and you're going to reach your left hand back to the top of your foot and gently pull your heel towards your hip. Make sure your knee doesn't come out. Knee's going to stay. If you need a strap, you can just wrap it around the foot. Gently pull your toes down towards you and get a nice stretch to your ankle. You can feel free to lift forward with your chest, but we're focusing on the feet, so you don't have to. Good. Slowly release. Switch sides, bring the left forearm out in front of you. Again, it's parallel to the front of your mat. Top of your left foot presses down, and then bend your right knee. Reach your right hand back to the top of your right foot and gently pull your heel towards your hip, but then even press the toes down towards your glutes, just gently. Everyone's got a little bit different comfort level, so take your time. Just get a nice stretch. You're gently pulling forward and pressing down. When you're ready, slowly release. Roll onto your back. Bridge pose. If you know it, go ahead and go into it. Separate your feet hip distance apart. You want to try to get your heels to touch the longest finger usually. Roll your shoulders underneath your chest. And then press through your feet and shoulders. Lift your hips up. Make sure you bring your chin up out of your chest. Interlace your hands if you'd like, or just leave your arms out. So just press down through the big toe again. See if you can get your heels evenly distributed. See if you can get all four corners of your feet pressing down so that your feet aren't rolling in or out. But as you press the big toes down, try to lift your arches. Then squeeze your thighs and engage your glutes to lift up. Should be a lot of work going in the feet and the legs. Good. Slowly release. Rest your back down. Grab your strap. Bend your right knee up towards you. Get the strap around the ball of your right foot, right below the toes. Grab the strap. Well, we'll do one on each hand. Slide your arms down so you can relax your shoulders. Press your heel up towards the ceiling first, and then press your big toe and the ball of your feet up. Straighten out your left leg onto the floor if you'd like. So we're kind of pressing up through the ball of the foot right now and pressing that big toe up more. You should usually feel this muscle, the peroneal muscles on the outside of the calf working as you press that big toe forward. Then relax that, press the heel up a little. Keep the foot relaxed in a flex position. Bring your left hand up on the strap. Both sides of the strap together this time. We're gonna add a twist. Bring your right arm out on the floor. You're gonna bend your knee in towards you just a little bit, and then let the leg and the hips rotate over to your left, and rest that left elbow down if you need to. Still make sure the ankle is straight of that right foot, and then look towards your right hand, get a little neck stretch in. When you're ready, nice and slow, bend the right knee, come all the way up, and we'll switch sides. An easy way to switch sides is bringing the left foot up into the strap, bend your right knee and place that right knee down, or the right foot down. Grab both sides of the strap, relax your shoulders first. So you're gonna press the heel up towards the ceiling. Just for a couple of breaths there. Get a little stretch in to the hamstrings and the back of the leg. And then try to get the strap on the ball of the foot and press up through the ball of your foot and try to flare your toes. Try to press that left big toe up. A couple of breaths there. Sometimes it takes a little practice to get the strap to stay in the right spot. All right, relax that. Press the heel up a little again and just leave the foot in a relaxed, flexed position. Right hand up, grabbing both the straps, left arm up to your side. You can straighten out that right leg. And then bend your left knee in a little. And then we're going to rotate, this time to the right, and rest your right elbow down. Go as far as you can. So if you need to be up here, that's fine. We just don't want the leg way down here. We're going to stay up and over. Look towards your left hand. When you're ready, slowly come on up. Release the strap. Set your strap to the side. Come into a reclined mountain. Flex your feet. Your feet can be hip distant. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up overhead, resting the backs of your hands down if you can. Flex, point your feet, flex, then point. Do some ankle circles, 5 in each direction. And then relax the feet. Hug it all in to reclined child's pose. Feel free to rock side to side or forward and back, whatever you need to do. And do any other movements that you feel like your body might need. Any other poses that you need. And then, as usual, I'll start a little bit of soft music, but if you want to mute it or anything, go ahead. We're not going to stay long. Rest your feet down, separate your feet wide apart, and let your knees rest into one another. And you can just pause here, letting your spine rest as long as you need to. You can stay with your knees bent or straighten your legs out, but make sure you bring your arms to your sides and roll your palms up so your shoulders can roll open. Arms can be nice and wide apart. You can cover up with a blanket if you need to. Again, we don't stay here long just for the purpose of class, but you can stay 5 to 10 minutes at home in this. I want you to close your eyes and smooth out your breath. Begin to let your breath come to a smooth, steady rhythm again, like you did in the beginning. And just focus in on that deep breathing. Maybe it helped to count for you, or maybe you just want to focus on a natural breath. Try to relax as deeply as you can. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And when you're ready, slowly roll to one side. Just resting there for a few breaths. And again, whenever you feel ready, press your hands down and slowly work your way back up to your seated position. Take a comfortable seat. Eyes closed or just a soft gaze. Rest your arms down. And let's end with 3 more deep breaths together. Go ahead and exhale. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Inhale again. Exhale completely. And last one. Inhale. Exhale. Push all the air out. And smooth out your breath. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and slowly open your eyes. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Venmo is the easiest way of payment, or we can do